Hello students, welcome back to your computer science class. So today we begin with generations of computer. There are 5 generations. The fifth one is current. It started all in the year 1944, and the first generation of computers at that time used vacuum valves, basically vacuum tubes, okay? Then came in the second generation, which started to use the transistors. And finally, the third generation, that is 1964 to 75, where they used integrated circuits. At that time, it was called large scale integrated circuits. And then the fourth generation came, that is in 1975, when it became very large scale integrated circuits. And now, currently, we are in the era of artificial intelligence based computers. So these are the 5 generations of computers. If you ever have problems with your computers, this is how you look for it. You first check the cables, the wires are correct. You unplug the computer from the outlet. You plug in both the sides and you try booting it again. You check the wall outlet, you plug something else, and you first check whether the power is working and the outlet is not faulty. Okay. Then you turn the system off. You wait for 30 full seconds before you restart your computer. Then you can reach behind the machine or under the laptop and you feel whether the air is blowing out or not. So that means, is the internal fan working or not? Okay, then you look at the keyboard for the indicator of lights coming on and off. So you know whether the keyboard is getting the power. And sometimes it's only the screen, the output screen or the laptop screen that's not working. So if you know if the power is coming up till up till the keyboard, but you're not able to see it, that means your screen is gone. Sometimes monitor has something to do with system acting up. So if you're working on a desktop computer, you can remove the monitor and you can replug the monitor power cable and all, and it could work. Operating system is the system that controls and manages the computer. Okay, there are many operating systems in nowadays. You all know so many. We know iOS, which is a mobile operating system. There is Linux, there is Microsoft, there is Sun Solaris, there is iOS, there's Macintosh. So in any computer or any mobile device, the operating system can be termed as the backbone when it comes to softwares. This is because it has to be there before other programs are run. It works as a middleman or an interface between the machine and the user. At the simplest level, an operating system does two things. It manages the hardware resources of the computer system, and these resources also include things such as processor, memory, disk space, etc. It provides a stable and a consistent way for applications to deal with the hardware without having to know all the details about the hardware. So it's basically an interface between the hardware and the software. Functions of operating system, you can mainly say 6 functions: processor management, memory management, device management, storage management, application interface, and user interface. Processor management, as in it loads, schedules, and executes the processes of the program. Memory management, because it allocates and deallocates memory for program execution. Device management, because it communicates and controls various input-output devices. Storage management, because it manages and controls the storage device to provide space to program for execution and data saving. Application interface, because API drivers provide a way for the applications to make use of the hardware subsystems. And finally, it's a user interface, because it is a structure that helps the interaction between the user and the computer. The types of operating systems that we have are single user, single task. These are no longer available. These were DOS, old Mac DOS. Then single user multitask. These are all versions of Windows. We always have a multitask operating system. Single task meant you could do only one thing at one time. So if your Microsoft Word is on, you cannot have internet running simultaneously or music happening or some file copying happening, nothing. Single task means only one thing could have happened. Single user means only one user. So single user multitask is also an old version. Now we have multi-user. You all can have multiple users using the same computer. So multi-user computer system, operating system. Then came multi-processing. That means a single process can run on two or more processors. Then came embedded operating system, where the operating system is embedded in a device. Okay, for example, if you have a smart TV or a smart washing machine, it's an embedded operating system. There's an operating system which is embedded inside that device. And finally, we have the distributed operating system, where the computers work in cooperation with each other. The two or three devices, they work in cooperation with each other. Okay. Besides this, we had done system software. We had done the three types of softwares also. So I will continue this with that later on. Today, I want to next show you all the two functions I had told you all. I will tell you all about today. One is format and one is random. Okay. Okay. So for random, I'm going to show you first the random function. So random, you first have to import a library. Remember, I'd spoken to you all about Python libraries. So if you want to use the import function, it is very important for you to import the library so that all the functions and all the things inside that library can be used. So you will import the library, and after importing the library, the next thing that we do is you are going to use the random option to first you will import random, and then we will use the random function to randomly show a number on the screen. So I will first import the library called random. Then I'm going to use this variable a to save a random number inside it. So I will say a equals to random, the name of my library, dot, and the name of my function, which is rand it. Okay, rand is random, random integer from 0 to 9, any integer that I want. Okay, and then finally, I'm just going to print it on the screen. Okay, I'm going to save this program and I'm going to run it. And I have 0 being printed. But how do I know it's random? So what I'll do is I'm just going to put a for loop over here. So let's run this 3 times, okay? For I in range. Okay, let's print it 3 times and see if I get 3 random numbers. I didn't get 3 random numbers, I got the same number. That is because the value of A doesn't change. So I can do this inside, and then maybe the value of A will change every time. Yes. Okay, I'll explain you the difference between these two in case you all did not understand. Okay, in this, what happened is over here, a random number was picked from 0 to 9, any number. Over here, the number that they selected was 8. Okay, so that means A had the value 8. And then in this loop over here, I just kept printing it 3 times because print 8, go back, print 8, go back, print 8, go back, because this place where the random number is given is above my for loop. So what I did next was, I just changed the placement, okay? So from having the value outside, having the value given to A outside, I decided to put it inside the for loop. So every time the for loop runs, value of A would be picked up randomly and then it will be printed. So now let's run and see. Last time we got 741. This time I got 595. And you can see there's a redundancy. 5 has come twice. That means it will randomly pick any number of its own choice from 0 to 9. If I change this to 99, it will pick from 0 to 99. All right. Okay. So this is the random function. So you can write a random program where you print a random number. Now, why would we need this? Because in the future, I'm going to make you all make a game in which the computer is going to hide a number, and that number will be randomly generated by the computer. That means me or you will also not know which number the computer has hidden. And the game that we will make the users play is they have to guess the number, and we will give them a fixed amount of chances to guess it. Okay, this is going to be your project for term 1. All right. So for this, we need to understand the random function. The second function is not very useful, but it is useful when you make bigger programs. In that, we don't need to really import something. It's just a format function. Let's say I want to print something like, uh, Radha has 5 apples, for example. Okay. So I'm taking the number also from the user, let's say. Suppose right now I'm giving everything, but suppose I'm also taking the number from the user and I'm taking the uh, fruit also from the user. Suppose, for example, right now I'm not really doing that, but you imagine that. And then I have to print a statement which says Radha has this many apples, something like that. Okay. So if I had to do it right now, the way we know, we would do something like Radha has, and then number. I'll put the variable name number, and then I would put fruit. Correct. All right. Or let's say I want to say Radha has eaten so many fruits or so many apples. So something like this would be done. Correct? Yes or no? Let's save this again and then. Could you find the error? It was a string value. Okay. So Radha has 5 apples. Okay. Now, suppose I want to write Radha wants to eat 5 apples, something like that. But let's say don't want to print it like that. I want to print an entire line. Let's say okay. First, let's run it and check if there is an error in this. 5 apples were eaten by Radha. So how I did this? I'm using the dot format function over here. Number 1, please note I'm using a dot format function. That means I am not uh, I'm not using a comma over here. Okay, I'm using a dot format. Now, I have put these open bracket, close bracket, which is like a placeholder. You can call these as a placeholder. These two are placeholders, okay? You got the idea, correct? I'm not able to really. These are the placeholders. Okay. These two are the placeholders, and this is my dot format function, and this is the string I want to display. Inside my string, I have used these brace brackets because I mean to tell the computer, the Python interpreter, that in place of these, I will give you values. And what values I will give will be mentioned here in the format function. So technically, whatever I write first will go in the first placeholder. Whatever I write second will go in the second placeholder. Okay. But suppose I want to change this. I want to write something like, let's say I want to just, I know it makes no sense, but suppose I want to write something like apple 5 were eaten by Radha. Okay. So what did I do is I put numbers here. Initially, I didn't have any numbers. I had left it blank. When I leave it blank, my computer thinks it's understood. When if it is blank, that means the first one goes in the place of first, second one goes in the place of second. But now I have put numbers here. That means this is my number 2. So this will go in the place of number 2. This is my number 1 because I wrote it first. So this goes in the place of 1. So now when I'm going to run this program, I'm going to get, okay, sorry. Let's put 1 here. And let's put, okay. Now I got a reverse. I got over here, I had 5 apples. And now I have apple 5. Only because I put index numbers over here. Index numbers. Index numbers are something you will have to learn. It's kind of important in Python to know what is an index number. Index number it works with strings, it works with lists and everywhere. Index numbers normally start with 0 and they go up till whatever length is there. Right now over here, it will go from 0 to 1. If I had more variables, it would continue 2, 3, 4, whatever. Most important thing in an index number is it starts with a 0. Whenever we are talking about an index of a particular string or a list or anything, always it starts with a 0. That's why over here it did not work. This is 0, this is 1. So 0 went in the place of 0, 1 went in the place of. This is how the format function used. Practice once or twice. You don't need to really use it in the future. Just need to be aware of it. All right. With this, I end today's class. Stay home, stay safe, take care, and keep learning. Thank you.